What's up, Facebook? Ty Crandall here with Credit Suite, and today we're talking about one of the most popular topics when it comes to business credit, vendor accounts. So today we're going to be mapping out vendor accounts. We're going to be talking about what they are, how they work. Most importantly, we're going to be talking about how you could use these vendor accounts to actually start building a business credit profile and score. So today we're going to decode this whole thing. And this way you know exactly how to start using vendor accounts to build business credit. So a ton of details to go over today. As much as I'd like to small talk with y'all, let's get to the main topic at hand. Okay, so vendor credit. So let's talk a little bit to start this off of how business credit's initially built. Princess Colin, thanks for coming in, everybody. So we're talking about here, when we talk about business credit, we're talking about an EIN does not have established business credit to start with. So this is not something natural that your business gets just because you have an EIN. You have to establish credit. Esmirna, hello, welcome, thanks for coming in. And AD, thanks for saying hey. Okay, so EIN without credit established equals guaranteed bank denial. You have to understand that. You cannot walk in and get a bank loan, for example, an SBA loan, without having established business credit. You won't have a credit score high enough to be able to do so. So talk about, TJ, welcome. When you talk about going to a bank to get a bank loan, you're typically talking about an SBA loan. The problem with SBA is SBA looks at a score called FICO SBSS. That's your FICO small business score. You have to have a 140 FICO SBSS score to get approved for any kind of SBA loan. The problem is you can't get a 140 SBSS score unless you have established business credit. It's impossible. So basically what SBA is saying is that you can't even get an SBA loan without having business credit. Now, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of places that may give you financing without business credit, but your bank is not one of those. So again, now if you have a good FICO and a PG, plenty of other sources may help you, but banks are not the places to go. So when it comes to business credit, you can't start with store credit. You can't start with cash credit. You can't start with Visa cards, MasterCards. You can't go to your bank to start getting credit. You can't get Amazon and BP and Chevron and all those. You can't get store credit. It doesn't start there. It starts with vendor credit, as we're going to talk about. You've got to start here with what are called trade lines through vendor credit. So this works, okay? Trade lines are basically the reporting of an account to the reporting agency. That's what a trade line is. So vendor accounts are the ones that will give you initial accounts that you could pay, you could then have reported, then those count as your initial trade lines. That's how you get initial trade lines, is through vendor accounts. It's not by What's up, Rodney? Thanks for the like. It's not by starting with bank credit. It's not by starting with store credit. You've got to first get these vendor accounts to start and get your initial trade lines established. Now, once you have that established credit profile, then you actually have an established score. Then you can use that to start getting money. Okay, so with an established credit profile, with an established credit score, with trade lines, then you can start moving on and getting store, cash, and revolving. So, look, we all understand the myth, right? You can't get money when you need it, okay? Or you need credit to get credit. Well, it's the same thing here. You can't go and get a Staples credit card to start off building your business credit. You can't do that as a consumer either. You can't walk into Staples with no credit. They won't approve you. But if you walk into Staples with some accounts on your consumer credit report, they'll approve you. Same thing as in the business world. So what we've got to do here is we've got to get accounts that report to the business credit reporting agencies. Once they report, we have what are called trade lines, as I mentioned. The reporting of those trade lines then populates a credit profile for you, and if you pay your bills or how you pay your bills will determine your credit score. When you have those three things, the trade lines, which then create the profile, which then also gives you a score because you pay as agreed or not agreed, those three things are what give you the foundation to then start getting revolving store credit, Visa cards, MasterCards, etc. Three things: trade lines, profile, score. But here's the thing: all you need to worry about is trade lines. And paying the bills is agreed. You get the trade lines, they automatically create the profile, okay? Dun & Bradstreet will try to charge you for what they say activating your credit profile and score. You don't need to do that. The trade lines reporting automatically activate the credit profile and score. And then if you're paying those bills as agreed, that gives you a good score. So the key of the three is trade lines. You get trade lines, you get the profile, you pay the bills as agreed, you get the good score. So this is what we're going to do, and we're going to do this starting using vendor credit. So why don't you want to give a PG? Well, first of all, banks don't like risk. So they're going to try to get this personal guarantee from you if you'll give it to them. But the problem is if you give it to them, if you don't pay the debt, then what happens is they come and they seize your private asset. Many of you probably know what happened to me. That's why I'm here. That's exactly what happened. Own a mortgage company, thing collapsed, personally guaranteed the business revolving credit me. When the business collapsed, they literally took all the money from my bank account to pay back the business debt, wiped it out. So I've lived this firsthand. Now you may as an entrepreneur say, I don't expect to fail. I didn't either. But the problem is so many things happen that can happen unexpected. Maybe you don't fail. Maybe you just default on that account. The bottom line is there's no reason to put your assets, your personal asset in harm's way if you don't need to. What we're going to talk about today is how you get the money without the personal guarantee, protecting your personal assets. And thanks for the likes, thanks for the loves, thanks for the comments, thanks for the shares. That's what gets more people in here. Just Facebook that we've got a hot topic. So this is why you don't want to give a PG or a personal guarantee. So that's what PG stands for if you see this referenced anywhere. So what is vendor credit? Well, this is initial credit you get when you have none. These creditors do two basic things. One, they give you credit when you have no business credit already. Two, they report the credit to the business reporting agencies, Dun & Bradstreet, Equifax, and Experian, giving you an initial profile and score. They sell office supplies. They sell coffee. They sell shipping boxes. They sell SEO services. I mean, look, most you could buy through anybody, you can find vendors for. We have vendors that offer t-shirts. We have vendors that offer phone services. So there's vendors you can use for a multitude of different purposes. So they offer things like supplies and coffee and shipping boxes, and they also report the credit to the initial business credit reporting agencies. Now they also offer terms like Net 30, and we'll talk a little bit more about that as we get into terms. And if approved, you can basically use that credit and then pay it back during that time frame, such as Net 30. So that's what vendor credit is. So vendor credit accounts are typically like Net 30 accounts. So what that would mean is it would mean that you've got to pay it in full within that time period, which in this example would be 30 days. Net 60 means you pay it in full within 60 days, okay? So, and James says, I'm a believer you guys will help build my credit almost already. Perfect. I appreciate it. But keep in mind, guys, I'm not here to try to sell you on our services to build business credit. If you follow what I'm going to teach you, that will help take you to the promised land. If you want to get there faster, that's when our services can actually help you. So what we talk about here, this isn't what you want long term, right? You want revolving. You want a $10,000 limit that you could pay $25 a month minimum on. I get that. But this is how you get started. You see, in the consumer world, you start credit with secured credit cards. And you know what? Excuse my language, those suck. Because if you have a $500 limit, you got to put $500 on the card to get the $500 limit. These ones, you don't need to front any money to get them. You're just going to have to pay it in its entirety, the balance you owe within 30 days, within 60 days, etc. Don't worry. This is just a stepping stone to get you where you really want to be, which is revolving credit. Okay, so Net 30, Net 60 just means the time period you have to pay the balance off in full. Now you want to get vendor accounts that report to the business reporting agencies. Remember, as I talked about, there's two things we care about. One, they report, and two, they will give you credit even when you have none. That's what we're going to talk about. We need vendors who will give you credit when you have none and that report it. Okay, you've got to use that credit, you've got to pay the bill, and then it gets reported after you pay the bill. Okay, now, that being said, let me give you a tip. Okay, you do not want to pay the bill before the item ships because that is considered to be a cash transaction. So if somebody gives you, and a perfect example of this is Uline or Quill. I order stuff from Quill all the time. I pay stuff as soon as I can because I know my payments are based on it. But if I go to Quill and I order stuff and then I immediately pay, they would never show that as credit. They consider it as cash because the money was received from me before the item was shipped. So the item has to be fulfilled before you pay the bill, which typically means shipped. That's what you're waiting for, okay? So you've got to get the credit, you've got to pay the bill after it's shipped, then it gets reported. Then you have, again, as I talked about, what are called trade lines that establishes a credit profile. Your payment history establishes the score. So that's how it goes. You get these accounts, trade lines, that's your profile, that's your score. That's how it works. Oda, hello, welcome. Caesar, thanks for coming in. Next, we get store credit. We get credit at Staples, at Office Depot, and Lowe's, and all those places. Then we move on to cash credit, Visa credit, MasterCard, without providing a personal guarantee or a personal credit check. So First of all, sidebar. Let's talk about this. Things have changed. As of May of this year, 2018, you will now be required to provide your social security number in scenarios where you never were before. Let me give you the lowdown. In the past, I've always said, never give your social, never give your social, never give your social, but things have recently changed. John, hello. Leslie, hello. Here's what happened. So in 2016, the government rolled out new requirements to prevent money laundering. And what they said was, hey, you can't accept an application from a business if you don't know who's supplying the application. So major banks are now required to provide the government your social security number and your date of birth. Here's the great news. That doesn't mean you're providing a credit check, and it doesn't mean you're providing a personal guarantee. So if you apply with places like Uline and Quill and vendors, most of them won't ask for your social. They don't need to. They're not banks. If you apply for credit at most major retailers, a lot of them might not ask for your social. They don't need to. They're not banks. But if their credit card accounts are underwritten by major banks, or you're getting a major bank credit card like a Chase Inc. card from Chase, then you may have to supply your social and your date of birth for verification purposes only. And in that scenario, you always want to clarify up front, you're not giving them the authority to pull your personal credit or guarantee, and you'll get around both. Remember, most of these credit issuers are not using this new regulation to pull personal guarantees and credit checks. They're only using it because they have to. And even then, if you're telling them up front that you're not giving them the authority for a guarantee or credit check, then you're fine. But then try to not even give them your social unless you have to. And if you do, Robert, hello, then now you know how to get around that. So again, leave the social security number off the application if you can. Force them to tell you if they need it, and only major banks will. When you do that, or you tell them you won't give a guarantee or a credit check, they pull your business credit to make the approval instead. Guys, it's pretty simple. Here's how it works. Here's what you might not know about the system. When you apply for a business credit card, business loan, or business credit line, they're pulling your business credit. Yes, it's happening. Do you know about it? No. Here's why. They don't need your permission to do it. You see, in the consumer world, they need your permission. It's called permissible purpose to get your permission to pull your credit. We don't need that in the business world. So they're pulling your credit and making lending decisions all the time based on your business credit quality, and you don't even know it. So when you apply for a business credit card, you say, no, I'm not going to give you my social, or I'm not going to give you authority to pull my personal credit. You're going to make the decision based on my business credit quality. What you do is you force them to do what they're doing already anyways, pulling your business credit. But you're forcing them to make the lending decision based on that and that alone, not your personal credit quality factored into the equation. That's how it works. So whether you know it or not, they're pulling your business credit anyways. Even when you give them a social, they're pulling consumer and business credit. All we're doing here is just changing the script, and we're taking away personal credit, and we're forcing to only look at business credit. When they look at the credit profile and they see those three things, remember, trade lines, profile, and score, good score because you paid your bills as agreed, those three things are then used to determine your approval and nothing on your consumer credit. That's how the system works. Okay, so Dwayne says, can I use any of this? Open and non-for-profit. Yes, non-profits, this works for every kind of business type. So building business credit. Now, not all retailers approve just due to credit profile and score, okay? Some may look at time and business. Some may look at revenue, but most are not looking at these. So it works. Most people believe that business credit without a personal guarantee or credit check has to do with revenue and time in business. You know what? I don't blame those people. Because if you go to Staples, if you go to Office Depot's application, it even tells you that. But here's what they don't want you to know. If you go in with 1 month in business and you come in with $100 in revenue and you have 14 trade lines on your credit report, they're going to approve you. See, they don't want you to know that, but that's the way their computers work. The way their algorithm works is they're going to look at your business report. And if they see what they're looking for, paid as agreed accounts, a number of accounts that they're looking for to meet the criteria that they have, and again, a good score, a good profile, a good history, they're going to approve you based on that and nothing else. Okay, but if you don't have those things, revenue, time, and business become more important. So the key here, what people don't know about business credit is this. The secret sauce is the number of trade lines you have. If you have enough trade lines, you can get around time and business, you can get around revenue. It comes down to the number of trade lines that you have. That is what matters most. Okay, so the key here is to get as many trade lines as you can. So the process, we start with what we're going to talk about today, vendor credit. This is going to give you the initial trade lines. Once you have about 5 of these, then you can start to get to store credit. When you have about 10 to 14 of these, then you start to get the big payoff, the Visa card, the MasterCard, the auto vehicle financing. Now here's the problem. 97% of trade vendors don't report the credit to the reporting agencies. So remember, we've got to find credit that does report to these guys. We've got to find sources who actually do report. Okay, so that becomes very important. Once we find these sources that do report, then we build the initial profile. That's what gives us the foundation to get the revolving credit and the support, the cash credit, the auto financing. So benefits, okay, it's an important step to build business credit because this is what gives you the trade lines of profile and the score. These are easier credits to get than store or fleet credit, and they can lead to those. Now keep in mind, you have to do this, okay? Oda says, my friend, how that worked for me. I'm telling you, I'm going to show you exactly how this works for you, okay? So what this comes down to is the benefit, the huge benefit here is that this is easier to get. Look, if you don't mind a credit check and you don't mind a personal guarantee, you can go to Staples and get a credit card in your business name, no problem. But if you do mind it, you could get 5 vendors, then go to a Staples of the world and get that same credit card without the guarantee or credit check. You can do it either way. What I'm showing you today is how to do it without the credit check and without the guarantee. So again, establishing business credit leads to lender approval, okay? It's proven to work. Now don't get me wrong. You're not going to go get a bank loan because of what I'm going to teach you just based on business credit quality alone. They're going to look at other factors when it comes to loans and credit lines. Business credit cards, they don't even care. They don't care about your revenue. They don't care about any of those other factors if you have the trade lines. But when it comes to loans and credit lines, it's going to make you more lendable by building business credit. It's going to help you get more money. It's going to help you get more money at the best terms. But it alone, meaning business credit, won't be the only factor they look at in full disclosure. So anybody that tells you you're going to be able to get all kinds of money based just on business credit's lying. Don't listen to those people. It'll help make it easier to get approved, but that factor and that factor alone will be what gets you approved. So terms, as we talked about, net 15 typically to net 60. You have 15 or 60 days to pay that in its entirety. So who are these vendors? Well, let's talk about a handful of them. And then I'm going to go ahead and walk through what each one of these will do for you. Uline, sells shipping supply. Quill, office supply. Granger, industrial supply. Behalf.com, Wells Fargo. That's 5 of them right there. And we're going to talk through what every one of those 5 does. And Maria says, it sounds easy, but here's the key, guys. If you really think about how hard it was to build your consumer credit, it wasn't easy, right? How hard is it to fill out a mortgage application, qualify for a home loan, get a car loan? How easy is it to get all the credit cards that you've gotten in the history of your credit? Building a credit profile is not easy. It's something that you do over time, whether it be business or consumer. And that's another point that Maria brings up that makes a lot of sense too as well, is that what Maria's saying is, Maria says, I have 14 trades, 80 paychecks, and no one will give me credit. That's impossible if you're applying at the right places. The problem is, guys, is this. People make the mistake of building business credit just to build business credit. They don't use business credit to actually buy the stuff they need to buy to be able to fuel the business. Here's why it matters. When you come in and get a Uline and a Quill and a Staples credit card and you spend $10 or $50 just because it's the bare minimum and you just want to spend the bare minimum to get to the next account, you're not going to get very far in the process. Because the next credit card you apply for, they don't want somebody that's all their credit report shows is that they've spent less than $100. They want to see somebody that's actually getting credit and using the credit, and they want to give those people the limits. So the people that really excel in building business credit aren't just getting credit accounts to get business credit. What they're doing is they're getting credit they actually need to use to grow the business. They're using the credit, and in doing so, that's what's giving them the history they need to get more credit. So if you're doing this just to do it, you're going to have a problem. We talk to these people all the time. Okay, I have 10 trade lines. I have 14. Perfect. What's the highest amount you've ever spent on those trade lines? $100. You're done. Nobody's going to give you the limits you need to continue to progress. So this only works if you work it, meaning you're really getting credit you're going to use to grow the business. You've got to use the credit. They have to see you're using it. That's what gets you higher limits, and 14 trades plus a $10,000 limit account. That's what's needed to start getting you to the next steps. But you'll never get there unless you're actually using the credit that you get. Okay, so Here we go. There's 5. We talked about them. Let's dive into each one of these. Uline. Uline sells shipping supplies. They sell packaging supplies, industrial supplies. Now, they report to Dun & Bradstreet every quarter. So it's going to take you longer for those accounts to actually get reported. Keith, Jerome, welcome. Thanks for coming in, guys. You've got to have your DUNS number before you even start applying for them. So some sources will require this DUNS number, some won't. You can go to creditsuite.com/DUNS, and that will actually get you what you're looking for with the free DUNS number. Dun & Bradstreet will call you and try to sell you a profile where they activate your credit profile and they give you your DUNS for like $1,500, $2,000. You do not need to do that. So my advice to you is never get on the phone with Dun & Bradstreet unless you want to get sold, because they'll only ever get you on the phone to sell you something you don't really need. So if you don't want to spend that money, never get on the phone with them. You can go to creditsuite.com/DUNS to get it. Some credit issuers were asked for it. Uline is one that absolutely will. Hey, ABG Transportation in now, what's up? I don't understand. Hey, ABG Transportation in it now, what's up, Mr. Crandall? Hey, what's up? AR Ben, hope I said that correctly. So you often need to spend $50 at least before they actually report the item. They may make you prepay for the first few orders before you actually get approved. So sometimes they make you place 2 or 3 orders to get approved. Pretty easy to apply. You put an item in your check, you go to checkout, you choose to be invoiced. So here's what you need to know. Okay, so first of all, you need to spend at least $50 to have it reported. Otherwise, it won't report and you'll wait months and think it does. Remember, they only report every quarter, so they might not report it in 30 days if you're expecting that they will. They may make you place the first few orders up front. What does that mean? It means if you have no business credit at all, then what happens is when you go to Uline and you say, okay, invoice me, they may email or call you and go, I'm sorry, sir, ma'am, we were not able to approve you for credit. If that happens, say no worries. I still want to buy it. Go to the items in your shopping cart, use your credit card and buy them. Then go back and do it again. Then go back and do it again. We've seen in every case that we've ever seen, the second or third order with them, you will get approved. Sometimes it's just a matter of you placing 1 or 2 orders to be able to make that happen. Brian says, hey, Ty, I love the podcast. More people should listen. I agree. We are on iTunes, so you can listen on the go. If you want to find us on iTunes, go to creditsuite.com, and you can easily look at the top right of our page, or you can just go to iTunes. It's a really popular podcast, so I think that it can help you. And thanks, man. I appreciate that feedback, and thanks for listening. So you're often going to need to spend that $50, but Uline is a great source to get approved with. Now, Quill is another one. They sell over 1 million products, including office supplies, packaging supplies, cleaning supplies. They report to D&B again every quarter in the beginning. They'll report monthly, but sometimes the first one takes 3 months to report. You've got to have a Paydex score. So in order to get approved sooner, where they may approve you and report within the first month. Now, they do look at Experian, okay, as well. You might have to place your initial order. You might have to place 2 or 3 orders like we just talked about. And again, you want to allow that 90 days to be able to have that account reported. And again, you can put the item in your account, choose to be invoiced and checked out. Is how you get to where you're going. Now, cool, awesome. Credit Suite just posted my podcast. Whoever Credit Suite is, thank you guys for posting on the stream. That's me, but I don't know who's handling our Credit Suite account. But thank you. So there's a link right here to our podcast, guys, if you do want to listen on the fly. So Grainger, they sell industrial supply. Okay, they sell hardware, they do fleet maintenance, all kinds of things. Now, you need to have a business license if it's required in your business, in your industry, in your county, an EIN, and they're going to want you to have that DUNS number with Dun & Bradstreet. Now, if you're getting less than $1,000, well, they'll approve nearly anybody, especially if you have a business license. Over $1,000, they may want trade or bank references, okay? And you want to fax the application or apply over the phone. Several points here. First of all, what are bank references? What are trade references? Trade references say, hey, even though you don't have something on your business credit account reports now, do you have other people you pay? Here's an example. We have Infusionsoft as our CRM software. They don't report to Dun & Bradstreet, but I can also come in and use them as a trade reference to tell people that we have payment history with them, and they could call them as a trade reference to verify that, which they typically don't call. A bank reference is somebody that works at my bank, that handles my business bank account. It's just telling the credit issuer, hey, I have a business bank account. You're not asking for my statements. You're only asking for a reference that I wouldn't have if I didn't have an account. So it's just the name of the person that works works at an account. Look, we've never seen these references verified. They just want to see that you do have credit with other people and that you do have a bank account. It's the only reason they're ever asking for those references to begin with. Grainger.com is how you get approved. Behalf, okay? So what they're basically doing is they're basically offering financing on the purchases that your customers make. So for example, for 1%, they pay bills on time and it gets you more predictable bills. They take your people's payments that want to pay you, they pay them through Behalf. Behalf fronts you the money. They accept the payments from your customer, and they also report to the business credit reporting agencies. They report to DNB, Equifax, and Experian. And in order for this to work, they have to see that you have a good checking account history, okay, in order to be able to do that. So you've got to have a U.S. business bank account. You've got to be able to have a U.S. Social Security number, okay? But again, what they're pretty much looking at is just your payment history. If your bank account management's good, then they're going to approve you. Here's what's important about them. Let me explain it like this. I talked to you earlier about trade lines, right? The reporting of an account in your business credit report. What they're really called in our world are called payment experiences, and here's why it matters. When I tell you you need 5 accounts reporting, I'm not really telling you you need 5 accounts. What I'm telling you is that you need 5 payment experiences. Here's why that matters. I just told you about Behalf. Behalf reports to Dun & Bradstreet, Equifax, and Experian. That counts as 3 payment experiences. 1 account, 3 payment experiences. So if you want to expedite business credit building, get accounts that report to a multitude of reporting agencies, multiple ones. That'll give you more payment experiences faster and help you expedite the business credit building. So if you have a chance between Behalf, which counts as 3 payment experiences because they report to DNB, Equifax, Experian, and only Quill that reports to DNB, you'd always choose the one with become 3 payment experiences because now instead of needing 5 accounts, you only need 2 payment experiences more because you got your first 3 from one credit issuer. That's why you always want to pay attention to who they report to. Because when you know who they report to, you know how many payment experiences they have. And that's how we take years of business credit building and condense it down then only months. Okay, so Wells Fargo, now they have a secured credit card, $25 annual fee. They report to Experian, okay, and they'll give you a credit line of $500,000 to $25,000. Now they're going to ask for a social. They're going to pull your credit. You need about a 620 to 650 score higher to get approved. Only for U.S. citizens. You're going to have a social to get it. You can apply online or by phone. Now, this is the only source I've told you about today, only one that actually requires check. As a matter of fact, none of the other ones we've talked about even ask for a social. They won't even ask for your social. And I'll give you a 6th one as well, Gimplers. Gimplers now reports to DNB. They'll ask for a social on the app. Leave the social security number blank, okay? And again, most vendors, you can do that still. Some banks will still want to see your social for identification purposes, but you can do that with them all day long. Christine, welcome. Thanks for coming in. So revolving store and cash credit. So Best Buy, Dell, Apple, those happen when you have about 5 accounts reporting. When you have about 10 to 14, then you can get Visa cards, MasterCards, American Express, okay, auto vehicle financing. But in order to do that, you've got to have a limit of $10,000 on at least one of those accounts. We already had somebody say earlier, look, I've got 14 accounts and nobody will give me credit. It's impossible. It won't work. Here's what happens. If you have 14 accounts, Staples is giving you credit. Lowe's is giving you credit. Home Depot is giving you credit. Almost every retailer is going to give you credit. But if you wanted a Visa card or a MasterCard at that point, you have to at least have one credit card that you have with a limit of $10,000 or higher. That's the problem. Like I said, if you're not using the credit you're getting, it becomes a really big problem because these credit issuers want to see the number of trade lines you have, but your business credit reports don't even tell the actual limits you have on the accounts. They say the recent amount of credit you've used on the accounts. So if credit issuer computers are seeing that you're not using the credit accounts, that you're only using less than $100 on these accounts, you're never going to be issued a $10,000 limit. And the $10,000 limit is a requirement for you to ever get to auto vehicle financing, Visa cards, MasterCards, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. So Tara, welcome. Thanks for coming in. So for example, Christine is with us on this call. Christine has followed the same advice as a client and she's got I think, close to, well, type it in. Type in the number of financing or business credit that you've got so far, Christine. I think it's pretty close to 900 grand. While you do that, I'm going to quickly give a recap. So let's get into a recap here. We talked about a lot of stuff, okay? Remember, business credit, just because you have an EIN does not mean you have established business credit, okay? You've got to establish credit for the EIN to have an established business credit profile and score, okay? Remember, you can't start with store credit or go into your bank. You've got to use vendors first to build trade lines, to add trade lines to your report, to give you a profile that then give you a score, okay? So you've got to get vendor credit first to get those initial trade lines. It becomes very important. Okay, so remember, you don't want to give a guarantee unless you have to, and the reason for that is because without a guarantee, then you come in and you're actually, the problem is that you are supplying your personal assets that can be taken if you're not guaranteeing the debt. So we got to start with vendor credit. These are creditors that will give you initial credit even when you have none. They offer things like office supplies and coffee and shipping boxes and t-shirts and phone services, etc. They'll give you terms such as net 30, which gives you 30 days to pay the account off in its entirety. Okay, and then when you do pay those accounts off, they report it, and your payments will then help you build your business credit to get to the next step. So remember, these are accounts like net 30, 30 days to pay it in full, or net 60, 60 days to pay it in full, okay? You got to get vendor accounts that report to the reporting agencies. You got to get the credit, use the credit, pay the bill, then it gets reported, okay? Then it becomes a trade line. Sometimes it takes 30 days for it to report, sometimes it takes 90 because some only report quarterly, which we talked about earlier. Then when you have 5 of these accounts, 5, you can move to store credit. Then with 10 to 14, you can move to Visa cards, MasterCards. Remember, leave the Social Security number off the application if you can. The problem is major banks will now require it for money laundering purposes. The government requires it. If they tell you it's required for government verification purposes, make sure you tell them they don't have the authority to provide a guarantee or to take, you're not giving them the authority for a guarantee or a credit check. So building business credit. Remember, a lot of retailers will approve you regardless of time in business if you have the trade lines. So what's the process? We start with vendor credit. We get 5 accounts, we move to store credit. When we get to 10 or 14, we move to Visa card, MasterCard, and auto vehicle financing. But remember, 97% of trade vendors don't report, so you need to make sure that you find credit issuers who actually do report, okay? So this is going to help you start building the business credit and score. These accounts are easier to get than revolving credit, okay? And remember, by building your business credit, it helps you get more money at better terms. It helps you become more lendable. So, the companies that do this, Uline, great company, they sell shipping supplies, they report to Dun & Bradstreet, okay? You need your DUNS number, you need to spend $50 in order to get approved or in order for it to report, and they may make you place 2 to 3 orders before they'll approve you. Uline.com. Quill.com. They may make you place 2 or 3 orders before they approve you. They may wait a quarter or 3 months to report your initial account. They report to Dun & Bradstreet. Okay, and again, there's about 1 million things you could buy at Quill. It even says that directly on their website, Quill.com. Grainger, they sell outdoor supply. You also want to check out Gimplers. They sell outdoor supply. Have DUNS numbers before you apply for both. With Grainger, it's pretty easy to get approved for under $1,000, especially if you have a business license. They're going to want references, trade references, bank references. Other accounts you have where you can give the name and phone number that you pay, and bank references. Somebody at your bank that you have your business bank account with, they're going to require references for approval. Behalf.com, they let you accept payments from customers, and they also report to DNB, Equifax, and Experian, True Starter vendor, in order to get approved that you've got to have good bank account management. Wells Fargo Secure Credit Card does require a credit check, $25 annual fee, $525,000 you can put on the secured card, 620 to 650 score to get approved. And I also told you about Gimplers as well. When you have 5 accounts, you can move to store credit. When you have 10 to 14, you can move to auto vehicle financing account. And that is my summary. So Christine says she's now secured $850,000 in total in business credit, guys. So she's on with us. If you want to throw in a question, throw in a question. But again, a testament to how well this works. Now Maria says, can I have 3 credit cards with a $5,000 each, or does it have $10,000? I had 3 credit cards with $5,000 each and 2 with $7,000. That's Amazon, Dell, Federal Credit Union, but I can't get the big one. You're right.
because of what I just said. You can't get it because you don't have a limit of 10 grand. So that's it. Look, when somebody says, I have 14 accounts and I can't get to the next step, well, there's usually a couple reasons why. One, you don't have those accounts actually reporting. You've applied, maybe they've approved you, maybe you've used the credit, but if you pull your reports, there's really not 14 on there. Or two, you don't have a limit of $10,000 or higher. In almost every single circumstance I've ever seen where somebody says, I have these accounts and I can't get approved, we pull the business credit reports, one of those two things is happening. There's not 14 trades, or there's not a limit of 10 grand. So to answer your question, Maria, no. You need to have one limit of 10,000 or higher, or you will not be able to get auto vehicle financing, Visa cards, MasterCards. Remember, what they're looking for is that you're getting credit and actually using it to grow the business. If you're doing that, you're using a credit card, you're putting thousands of dollar balances on it, you're paying it off, and you're doing that repetitively. Then your credit reports show how much you're recently using. Future credit issuers' computers see that. That's what they're looking at to render an approval for Visa card, MasterCard, auto vehicle financing without the personal guarantee, without the personal credit check. Oda says, my friend, I need my business. I don't have my own business right now. That's where you got to start. You can't do this unless you set up your own business first. If you go to youtube.com/credit suite, we just a few weeks ago did a great video on how to start a business that maps out everything you need to know to start the business. You got to have a business before you start building business credit. And AR says, Christine, how? Well, that is a complicated question. So if you want to know how she did it, go to youtube.com/credit suite and just search Christine. We did an hour and a half, 2-hour webinar with Christine a matter of a few months ago. She says exactly how she did it. She maps out the exact process. She maps out the steps. She tells you every kind of credit that she got. She shows you the credit cards. We review her business credit reports. It's all there. So go check out that webinar, youtube.com/credit suite. Just search Christine, you'll find how she did exactly what she did, an hour and a half where we just walked through. Plus, you can also go to our website, creditsuite.com, go to testimonials. Christine is on there. They're all in alphabetical order. Her testimonial is about 30 minutes where we also walk through with an interview and her and I that'll map through exactly how to do it as well. Will, hello. Thanks for coming in. We are just now wrapping up, so I appreciate you coming in. Guys, if you missed any of this, I think it was valuable. Go to our Facebook channel, facebook.com/credit suite, and this video is right there on our channel. If you want to be notified every week when we go live, go to facebook.com/credit suite, go to Messenger, type in the letters EIN. You'll get a free guide that maps out more in-depth steps of building business credit, and we'll notify you every week when we go live. Now, we don't message you all bunch of crazy crap all the time. Right now, we're only using Messenger just to notify you when we go live. So that'll notify you every Wednesday at 4 o'clock Eastern when we go live. I will not be here next week. I'm flying up to talk to a credit bureau about something you're going to love. That's going to make it easier than ever to build your business credit. So I will not be here next Wednesday. I will be back the next week, or I might have Steve on our team do the live stream without me. But one way or the other, I'll see you soon on our live streams Wednesday at 4 o'clock Eastern here on Facebook. I appreciate it, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. If you have any questions or you want to talk more about building business credit, go to creditsuite.com/Facebook to get your free 4-step guide on building business credit, creditsuite.com/Facebook. And here is our number to give us a ring. We will definitely give you a free credit safe copy of your credit report. We'll even review it for you if you would like to do so. So Christine, you guys are going to talk, and I'm going to wrap this up. If you have any other questions, reach out to us and let us know, 877-600-2487. Don't forget to go to facebook.com/credit suite and get your free guide by typing in EIN into Messenger, and we'll notify you every week when we go live here on Facebook. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. I hope you all have a great day. If you missed this in any part, you can watch this entirety on our Facebook page, facebook.com/credit suite. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.